Broadcasts of the City of Neenah Common Council meetings are produced by University Studios of the University of Wisconsin-Fox Valley. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents via the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues or about these broadcasts by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or by completing the electronic feedback form on the city website, www.neenahgov.org. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited for playback.
Good evening. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the City of Neenah Common Council for April 5th, 2023. The clerk will call the roll, and please indicate your attendance on your roll call device.
Alderperson Boyette.
Here.
Orchard is excused. Hillstrom.
Here.
Lendrum.
Here.
Erickson.
Here.
Weber.
Here.
Skirms.
Here.
Steiner is excused. Stevenson.
Here.
Thank you. Alderman Boyette will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it
Is there any objection to unanimous consent of the appointment of Taylor Roll to the Sustainability Neenah Committee for a 3-year term, expiring in December of 2026? Is there any objection to that? Seeing none, that is so ordered, and Mr. Roll is here to be sworn in. Sorry about that.
Only better.
Hello.
There you go.
Thank you.
Go too far.
Sorry about that. Welcome.
All right, so as I was saying, I want to promote sustainability within my community. I live on Harrison Street here, and I plan on doing so for some time. Right now, I'm enrolled and almost finished with my Master of Fine Arts degree with a graphics design emphasis and a certification for sustainability and well-being. I'll finish that in the fall, and I have my thesis going on, and I talked to some people that recommended me to serve on a committee, and I was really interested in sustainability, anything to do with the triple bottom line, and to me that's planet, profits, and people. So I'm especially concerned with the environment and reducing carbon footprint, and I thought it'd be a good idea to join Sustainable Neenah. So is there any questions for me?
I don't see any, but thank you very much for your willingness to serve on the Sustainability Committee. Now you'll be sworn in.
I, Taylor Roll,
Having been appointed
having been appointed
a member of
a member of
Sustainable Neenah
Sustainable Neenah Committee
of the City of Neenah,
of the City of Neenah,
Winnebago County,
Winnebago County,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Wisconsin,
of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of
the duties of
a member
a member
of the Neenah Sustainable Committee
a member of the Neenah Sustainability Committee
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for having me.
The next item on the agenda is approval of council proceedings for March 15th, 2023 regular session. Is there any objection to unanimous consent of approval of those minutes? Seeing none, those proceedings are approved. The next item on the agenda is the public forum. This is the opportunity for the public to speak on any topic. You're allowed 5 minutes to speak on any topic if you would so desire. And if you would like to speak and you come forward to the microphone, please give your name and residential address. Is there anyone who would like to speak at this time? No, I would like it to occur at this time.
All right, thank you. My name is Robert Kennedy, and I reside still at 1836 Hedgeview Drive. During the Public Services and Safety Committee meeting on March 21st, Director Kaiser stated that the change to the ordinance covering street improvement assessments was suggested because it would address an imbalance in the final assessments. Now, how does one define an imbalance? In this situation, where we are talking about paying for street improvements, it would seem the imbalance occurs when some lots in the subdivision have more accessible front footage than others. So those larger lot owners pay more because they have more to pay for. That is the method the city has been using for decades. Does this method of assessment really constitute an imbalance? Or is it just that those larger lots have more accessible front footage and therefore more value? It seems to me that the perceived imbalance becomes shifted in the other direction when the unit-based method is applied to the assessment costs. In the case of the Liberty Heights subdivision, 48 of the property owners, 38%, will pay less than their accessible front footage, while 78 property owners, 62%, will pay more. That sounds like it's very imbalanced when you have a majority of the property owners subsidizing a minority. It has been said that properties in a development benefit equally from these improvements. How can that be true when the lots and houses are not equal to begin with? The ordinance talks about using the unit-based method when there is uniformity of lots. Yet it does not define nor quantify what constitutes uniformity of lots. When a property owner will pay $6,040 more than their accessible front footage value, and another property owner will save $7,140, that surely does not represent a uniformity of lots. The ordinance gives the council the option to decide on which method of assessment to use. I have a simple request, that the council move and approve to assess the residents of the Liberty Heights subdivision as it has assessed others in the past for street improvements by applying the accessible front footage method. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak at this time?
Good evening. My name is Pete Brace. I reside at 1831 Nation Court in Neenah. Thank you for the opportunity to stand before you tonight and voice my concerns for the upcoming street curb and gutter project in Liberty Heights, or more specifically, the manner in which the assessment is being charged. In December, it was recommended that the unit method of assessment be applied to new subdivisions, as this was deemed equitable for lots of comparable size and use. And while this may be appealing and straightforward method in areas of truly new construction with parcels laid out which are truly uniform, our neighborhood is as new as any 15-year-old car, with lots as unique as the people who chose them upon which to build a life. For existing non-uniform neighborhoods such as Liberty Heights, changing the method of measure attempts to correct one inequity by replacing it with another. Parcels in Liberty Heights range in size from 0.3 acres to half acres, full acres, and even larger. The homes on these lots are also varied in size and value, with home sales ranging from $350,000 to almost $800,000. Whether we live in Liberty Heights or some other part of the city of Neenah, we are expected to maintain and our tax based on the property we have chosen to own. The charges related to the special assessment should be no different. According to an article published in the Appleton Post-Crescent on March 22nd, 76 homeowners with smaller frontage in our neighborhood alone would have an increase in their bill for this assessment, while 49 properties would receive a reduction. Based on front foot assessment values provided by the city of Neenah, this equates to roughly a $2,000 savings for the minority of properties, directly funded by the majority of homeowners with smaller frontage lots being charged $1,000 or more on average per parcel. As the owner of a parcel with significantly less frontage, the bill for our property will increase roughly $5,000. We became the first owners of our new home in 2013, when many of the other lots were still available, after searching specifically for a quiet lot in a cul-de-sac. We made this purchase knowing full well there would be an assessment for finishing the road in front of our home, and that it would be based on the frontage of the property we chose. I cannot speak for every home in our neighborhood or even the other 75 homeowners that are being assessed for more than their property's front footage. But over the last few months, I have watched at council and committee meetings as the majority of property owners in attendance made impassioned pleas to have their assessment reflect the home they chose. As a neighbor, constituent, and taxpayer in the city of Neenah, I respectfully ask that the council honor the choices of the majority of property owners under their care and measure the assessment based off the very unique front footage of each individual property. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak at this time?
Hi there. My name is Roger Peters. I live at 1807 Statue Drive. I am here to ask the council to support the unit method, the one that is recommended by the city's expert, Mr. Kaiser. I believe that the unit method is the most fair, as we all pay the same for a project that we all use equally. I know people are arguing for the accessible front footage method. I think some are still arguing for the corner lot penalty. There is a defect in the accessible front foot method as well. They say that some people with larger front footages are larger lots. It's not necessarily the case. The house next to me has 11,000 square feet more, but he has 20 square feet or 20 linear foot of frontage less than mine. So it's basically a lot configuration penalty. You can have a long, narrow lot with a very tiny frontage, but it could be a huge lot. So this is the most fair way. I know a lot of people are upset about the change. I've said this in some committee meetings and other forums here, but the council passed the change to the ordinance in an open, transparent method that allowed for public input. And at that time, there was no real opposition to the plan. So the new ordinance was adopted. I feel that local government has a duty to treat residents as equally as possible, and in this case, the unit method does exactly that. We're all going to be paying the same amount of money for the same project that we all drive on every day. We all benefit equally from it. Some people in the committee hearings and even the information session a couple weeks ago are asking to be grandfathered to back to the old way where there's a corner lot penalty. I asked the committee not to entertain this. I think that sets a dangerous precedent because I guarantee other future subdivisions are going to ask for the same accommodation to be treated differently than what the ordinance prescribes. I truly feel that government is best served by following the ordinances that are on the books. And like I said, using the unit method does just that. Basically, everybody that's involved or impacted by these assessments is biased. The committee, you people are the ones that are the unbiased eyes. You're the ones that are not involved, and I want you to look at this, how would an uninvolved citizen view this decision? Would everybody be paying the same for a project that benefits everybody the same be the way to go? Or to pick winners and losers based on how their lot is configured or based on how their lot or where their lot is located? I think the council did a great job by coming up with a unit method. It corrected a penalty that corner lots faced for 30 years that Mr. Stevenson had brought up. I applaud you all for doing that, and I ask that you please adopt the unit method for this and other future subdivisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak at this time?
Mike Dubois, 1469 Amendment. I'm not going to get up here and ask you guys to vote one way or the other tonight. You've seen probably the same 4, 5, 6 of us at the last few subcommittee meetings, the last council meetings. We've all hashed out the same points over and over. I'm here tonight because I've invested almost 6 months of my time and more countless hours than I care to think about trying to help my neighborhood, keep these costs contained. You guys are aware it started back in October because we got a misinformed number that made half of us real scared at the number we were going to get. That number has fluctuated, and my ask all along has been that you guys do something to help this neighborhood control these costs. Whether we go with the per unit method, whether we go with the linear foot method, in my case, it's going to amount to a difference of $800. At the end of the day, my family can handle that. Not every family can handle how the difference in methods will be, whether it's linear foot and you're impacting a corner lot more, or it's per unit and you're impacting those that are non-corner lots paying a little bit more to subsidize that. My ask to you guys has always been the same. When I went before the subcommittee last time, we looked at some of the codes, the municipalities. All of them talk about how you guys have the opportunity to make a change, or you have the ability to make a recommendation to do something. And that's what I'm here again tonight to ask. Do something north of nothing to help our subdivision. It's likely that this is going to pass with the per unit method. We took that message loud and clear from subcommittee last time. What that means for a lot of our families, by the time we pay, if we choose to pay in full, is we're looking at paying the city of Neenah over $20,000 this year. Let's say we go with the payment plan and break it up over 8 years at an interest rate that's still going to burden a lot of us. You're still looking at north of a $10,000 bill by the time we have our aprons torn up, replaced, pay our taxes, and our portion for the year. A lot of families are not in a position to handle that. And I would ask you guys, please, do something north of nothing. You guys have voted to raise the interest rate, which is impacting us. Again, whether you go per unit or linear foot, some of us are going to pay more, some of us are going to pay less. It's a burden that a lot of us are not prepared to handle, and even those of us that have tried to plan ahead, have put money ahead from when we built 5, 6, 10 years ago. It's not keeping up with what the costs are today compared to when our road should have been done years ago. I would ask Director Kaiser, you didn't put any language in that contract to protect us against overages. I guess I would ask you to put to task to please, for the love of all that's holy, keep them to that cost. Because there's a lot of people in our neighborhood who are scared crapless, quite literally, at what a blank check they have right now if they go over on costs. They're scared. We have people who are selling their houses in our neighborhood because they outright said, we can't afford this assessment, we're getting out. I've watched almost a dozen homes go up for sale in the last year. That's a reflection on the mood that they feel. The neighborhood has changed as a direct result of how this assessment is going forward. So again, I'm not going to ask you guys to vote one way or the other. I would like to see the per linear foot method. That's just my opinion. Like Roger said, many of us have a biased stake with it going one way or the other. But at the end of the day, I would just kindly ask the council, please, do something north of nothing because of the unique circumstances we have in our neighborhood. We're not a brand-new subdivision that's come up in the last year or two. We have been around for over a decade. We've had a temporary road put in that was well past its usable life. We've had our subdivision go in and out of bankruptcy twice by developers who couldn't do what they were supposed to do. So I would ask you guys, please find some way to help our neighborhood. As constituents, as taxpayers, that's what I'm asking. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak during the public forum? Is there anyone else? Is there anyone on council who would like to comment on the conversation that was presented during the public forum? Seeing no one, oh, sorry, Alderman Skirms.
Thank you,
Sorry.
Mayor. Mike, if I may, what would you suggest for something north of nothing? The mayor said that's okay. Her house. Yeah, if you would. Oh.
At this point in the game, I don't know how much you can change based on what I've been attending up till points where decisions were made. I've asked in the past to consider lowering the interest rate back to 3%. I've asked for longer payment terms than 8 years. You know, many of us can refinance a mortgage into 15, 30-year terms. Why not have a longer term there? I made the ask at the last subcommittee meeting about TARF, because reading those sub-laws, I know that it was discussed back and forth. When you read those rules, how they're written, yes, our road is temporary, but there's nothing in that language that talks about a final grade being the determining factor for what allows those funds to be used. When I was looking at other sub-laws that may have applied to our subdivision, I kept coming across a very similar phrase that says that the council may choose to do something or make a motion to change. That seems to be in every one of those laws, because I'm assuming it revolves around your guys' ability to change as dynamics would change for situations. I don't know how that plays out in terms of specifics of what you can recommend or what you can't, but is there a way that, you know, some of the TARP funds, again, I would ask, I know that's been hashed over and over, so I mean, that's probably a beaten horse. You know, is there another fund? Is there something that you guys can do where, when you talked about changing methods, does it change the cost of ownership to the city? No, you still have a zero-sum game in that. But does inherently changing the terms of a loan for us harm the city too much when it could benefit at least us in an ability to pay in a better manner? I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for everyone in my neighborhood. Like I said, I've put countless hours talking to the people that have wanted to. We've heard multiple opinions from both sides. You know, it's just I'm willing to sit at the table and talk about what options are available. I mean, if that's what you would ask of me as a constituent, I'm happy to put those hours in. At this point, I don't know what options may be left on the table. Like I said, that's why I would ask, you know, at this point, going forward, I mean, the bid's been accepted, just whatever you can to contain costs, because from where we're sitting, we were told that if costs go over, it's just on us. So, I mean, is there a way to go back and put language in that bid that they are held to that amount? Something that at least gives the neighborhood some level of confidence that the amount we had on those sheets is going to be the amount we're going to pay? Because like I said, the neighborhood is quite frankly scared and nervous from the many people I've talked to that that number on our sheets is not the number we're going to pay. And none of us have really watched construction projects elsewhere come in on budget. They always go over. So, like I said, I'm open to ideas. I'm open to sitting down for a powwow. I mean, I know we talked about, is there any way that you guys can meet with the neighborhood if we were to try and schedule some kind of public meeting? I don't know. Right now, I'm just kind of spitballing at moment's notice, but
I appreciate that, and I appreciate everybody's concern, and this is big numbers, and it's a shock, and how do we pay for, I get all that, but that's helpful.
yeah, something else I had suggested too was our project was supposed to be done years ago, back in, I think, 2018. Help me out, guys. Was that when we were supposed to go, back when Nature's Trails was around going? Could the city look at doing a cost sharing where we are billed at what cost would have been for that to at least give us some measure of relief? Because our project should have gone in then when the roads were failing. We've kind of made do, and now we're at a point of critical failure, is what we hear with the roads. We've got potholes galore, and the road's falling apart. Is there something there where the city can offer some kind of olive branch or something? Because we've kind of just been put by the wayside with when our project should have been done, and as we're all aware, the last few years have not been kind to inflation and costs, but, it's, like I said, a lot of us tried to be diligent, we tried to be responsible, and we're still looking at bills that we're not sure we can manage.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Any other questions or oh, no, before I sit down, I have to come back
You're
up,
good.
so.
Thank you.
Maybe sit down, I guess. I'm sorry, we might call you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Alderman Weber.
Thanks, Mayor. Jerry, to Director Kaiser, can you help to answer the contract question, and there be language put in the contract to prevent any overage, or how would that work?
Well, Mr. Du Bois and I had a discussion about that at the night of the public input meeting. We keep close oversight of the contracts that we're operating. And overages of the type that he would be referring to require our approval before additional work is done or review by the Board of Public Works. So we have processes in place. Now, things can occur, but given the state of what we're dealing with out there, this isn't like we're digging up and a street with a utility replacement where we tend to find surprises. This is much more straightforward. And so I have all the confidence in my department to operate this within the contract as it is.
Alderman Skirms.
A follow-up for Director Kaiser. The numbers that the residents are looking at, is the contract that we're looking at tonight that came in under budget, the numbers they have? Have they
Yes,
been
it is.
updated?
The numbers they have are updated.
Okay, so
based
that's
on
the
bid.
asphalt under what we thought it was going to be?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like Director Rasmussen to address the interest rate question.
Thank you, Mayor. I believe that the interest rate came forward before the council, before I started here, and it was around 3% before this. And we looked at what our current rates are for what our borrowings are going to be at. And currently, at this moment, we can't even borrow for under 4.5%. So we were anticipating that with the market, it will be going higher. And we looked at how the investments are coming in as well and found that 3% was quite a low rate in order to, for charging for us to borrow to do these streets, so we were just trying to break even with that. And so that's how that rate came up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Alderman Skirms.
I'm sorry, one other one. Do we have any flexibility in financing? I know we have standards, here's what we do, but what would it take, or what would that look like? Change the term, or?
For changing the term of
Yeah.
that. I have not, being newer here, I have not read what our current
Or-
policy is. It sounds like it's 8 years. I don't know. I think we could be flexible. I'd have to look. Jerry, are you familiar with our borrowings or our ordinance for that?
Yeah, the ordinance for the 8-year payment term, I believe City Attorney Rash.
He's
is
looking at.
Looking at it now.
I apologize. I didn't know that ordinance yet.
Sure, it's in section 25-130 under the subdivision ordinances for special assessments. The ordinary term is only 5 years, but it can be extended to 8.
Okay.
So under ordinance, it's as far as we can stretch it.
Thank you for that.
Is that understood? That's per our ordinance, that it would have to be an ordinance change to change the. I think it's potentially possible, but very out of the ordinary. Yes. Yep. So our economic times for all. Is there anyone else? Director Rasmussen, did you have anything to add?
No, it's
Okay.
just what our ordinance is at right now. But we couldn't do anything outside of our ordinance unless we did change that.
Okay.
Thanks, just asking.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak at this time? Seeing no one, we will move on to item number 7, reports of standing committees, Special Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of April 4th, 2023. Chairman Lundrum.
Thank you, Mayor. We met tonight, reporting out for a Special Public Services and Safety Committee meeting. We met at 6 o'clock in the Hauser Room. Item number 1, consideration of committee recommendation regarding the proposal from Ewald Kia for the 2023 Kia Seltos in the amount not to exceed $27,102.50 to replace the 2007 Ford Taurus using 2023 CIP funds, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Hillstrom. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes.
Item number 2, consideration of committee recommendation regarding the proposal from Ewald Chevy for the 2023 Chevy Traverse in the amount not to exceed $31,808.50 to replace the 2007 Ford Freestar using 2023 CIP funds, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Skirms. Is there any discussion on this item? Alderman Stevenson.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I just think it's a kind of a minor detail, but it is important to track the dollars. Each one of these vehicles had a line item within the park recreation budget of $30,000. So technically, we're going to exceed the $30,000 on this purchase. So we need to make sure we identify in the minutes, and my motion in committee did that, that we're utilizing the $30,000 plus residual money from the purchase of the prior vehicle.
Thank you for that clarification. Are there any other questions or comments on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 7-0. The next item on the agenda is the regular Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of March 21st. Chairman Lundrum.
Thank you again, Mayor. Reporting out from the regular Public Services and Safety Committee meeting of March 21st, 2023. Minutes can be found on the city website. Item number 1, Committee recommends council approve the amendment to Memorandum of Understanding between the City of Neenah and Bird Rides Incorporated, extending the electric scooter pilot program through December 31st, 2023. And I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lendrum, seconded by Alderman Weber. Is there any discussion on this item? Alderman Skirms.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of things. One, I want to note that reflected in here is an increase in the fee we will receive to 20 cents, which our neighbors were getting, so thank you for getting that included. Personally, I think that's low. I mean, we're giving them the privilege to do business here, and that's barely going to cover the department's time keeping track of all this. So I'd like to see that increased in the future. The other question I have is, I had requested that we encourage Bird to figure out a way to get their riders to nest in particular places. Do you know, Director Hayes, if they made any progress on that or where they are with that?
We had a conversation with Bird relative to that, and I know there was one option is the preferred parking. I don't personally think that that's a really good option. My preference would be areas of concern that we geofence those sections to prevent parking in those areas. So as an example, downtown, for the most part, is geofence, so you can't end a ride wherever you would like in the downtown. There are certain areas you can end. So if we have, and with that said, obviously one of the benefits of the program is the flexibility to park these. But if we have specific areas of concern, downtown, as an example, then we could explore, I think, geofencing those sections or segments of the city to prohibit the ending of, in essence, not allowing the rider to end a ride. Now, with that, we would want to have a location in reasonable proximity, so they don't have to scooter for a mile or something before they can end a ride. But that's the most likely, or what I would view as the most preferred option in terms of trying to get at issues that we are seeing in specific areas.
Okay, all right, because last year, I don't know what the incentive was, $1 or something on a $12 ride. It's like, no, I'm going to dump the bike or the scooter wherever I want. So could we also theoretically geofence Riverside Park, that you're welcome to go through there, but don't leave it in the middle of the park?
Yeah, theoretically you could. And that's one we have talked about specifically, would be trying to find locations,
right,
at the corners or something where you would be able to end the ride with it, again, reasonable. So presumably there are people that are scootering to the park or from the park that you would want something relatively close.
Yeah. And one other question. This something I think just to keep an eye on, and maybe this is a PD question. These aren't the safest things in the world. They're fun, but people aren't wearing helmets. People double up. I just read in the paper this week that Paris is banning them after a number of deaths and serious crash injuries, so they're getting rid of them. I don't think we're at that state, but I think we should be aware of, and something to consider, I think is reasonable, is, it's a sunrise to sunset kind of thing. I've seen folks roll out of the bar, two guys get on a scooter and head down the middle of the street at 11 o'clock at night. That's just not, dumb on them, but we don't want to encourage that behavior. So something to think about. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any other comments or questions on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 7-0.
Item number 2, committee recommends council approve final resolution 2023-09, installation of curb, gutter, and pavement for properties in the Arthur Platte. And I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lendrum, seconded by Alderman Weber. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 7-0.
Item number 3, committee recommends council approve final resolution 2023-10, installation of curb, gutter, sidewalk, and pavement for properties in the Cardinal Plat, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Council President Stevenson. Is there any discussion on this item? Alderman Skirms.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm torn on this, and I think others are also, that there's a lot of logic to, we all use this, fair is fair, and get that, but also understand the unique challenges of integrity, which is why Mr. Du Bois came forward with, Integrity Heights. The Liberty Heights, I'm sorry. Is that what we're talking about?
We're talking about Cardinal.
Never mind. I'll come back to you later, Mike. No, thanks.
Are there any questions on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device, recommending final resolution 2023-10. That motion passes 7-0.
Item number 4, committee recommends council approve final resolution 2023-08, installation of curb, gutter, sidewalk, and pavement for properties in the Integrity Acres Plat and the first addition to Integrity's Acres Plat. And I would so move.
So motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Weber. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 7-0.
Item number 5, committee recommends council include Outlot 3, Freedom Court, and 1436 Freedom Court in final resolution 2023-07 for assessment purposes as part of the Liberty Heights subdivision curb and gutter and pavement project, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Council President Stevenson. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 7-0.
Item number 6, committee recommends council approve final resolution 2023-07, installation of curb, gutter, and pavement for properties on Amendment Drive, Anthem Drive, Briggs Lane, Bucer Drive, Hedgeview Drive, Highland Drive, Nation Court, Plains Avenue, Presidential Drive, and Statue Drive, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Weber. Is there any discussion on this item? Alderman Weber.
Just to clarify, this is Liberty Heights, correct? Doesn't state that.
Yes, that is correct.
Alderman Stevenson.
Yeah, thank you. I want to applaud Alderman Weber, first of all, for his efforts in working with the neighborhood to get the series of questions answered. He's come a long way as a rookie alderman, and I'm impressed and proud of the way he's served the community out there. I do take issue, Mike, with some of your comments about the council not doing, and I want to make sure I quote you correctly, you're challenging us to do something north of nothing. The council, back during budget deliberation time, heard you loud and clear, and I think recognized your concerns about total cost. And we removed the sidewalks from this project, which is north of something. So I take issue with the implication that we didn't do anything. I have been a long proponent, and people in the neighborhood has implied that this unit measurement thing is something that Jerry came up with in the last 4 months. But it has been discussed on multiple occasions for those who may be old enough to know it. And I applaud him for continuing to bring it up, because as quite honestly, as the neighborhood has indicated, it is probably the fair method. Implementation is always the problem. When do you do it? And my response is, if not now, then when? So I think we've worked hard with the neighbors to recognize some unusual circumstances in the developmental timetable. So we removed sidewalks. But I think from an equity perspective, and being one that lived through it, I have for 25 some years indicated that the unit of measure methodology is the fairest. It's equal. I mean, I don't drive any more or less down my road because I have a 110-foot lot than I would if I had an 87-foot. I use the same road. So I'm a strong proponent of, and I applaud Jerry for his diligence in continuing to bring this issue forward to try to find equity, because other councils have debated it and not seen that vision. And those councils have not reacted because of some of the political pressures that you're seeing today. But the unit assessment method is the fairest, and I'll strongly support as I've done on the first three, I will support it on this one as well.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Any further questions? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 7-0.
Item number 7, committee recommends council approve Westwood Professional Services to acquire title searches necessary for the South Commercial Street reconstruction project for an amount not to exceed $14,000, which shall be funded with the South Commercial Street Design account. And I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Skirms. Is there any discussion on this item? Any discussion? Any questions? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 7-0.
Item number 8, committee recommends council approve amending the South Commercial Street reconstruction design project agreement with Westwood Professional Services to include design and real estate services for modifications to the Winneconne and Commercial Street intersection in the amount of $49,800, which shall be funded by the 2025 South Commercial Street Reconstruction Design Project account, number 012-4322-743-0236, and I would so move.
A motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Hillstrom. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 7-0.
The last item, item number 9, committee recommends council approve the purchase of a digital bell controller from Verdin Company in the amount of $5,015 with funding to come from the Public Facilities Fund balance, and I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Lundrum, seconded by Alderman Hillstrom. Is there any discussion on this item? Council President Stevenson.
Yeah, thank you. I'll ask Vicki, and I should have called her this afternoon and asked this, but maybe somebody from the committee can enlighten me. Do we know what the fund balance is in this what we're calling the Public Facilities Fund balance?
I do. It's actually 113,000 right now.
Okay, good. And so just so we're all clear, the 113,000 is generated from attractive bids on projects like this, public facilities, right? So we have extra dollars that we've borrowed for and have built up to the level of $113,000. And especially when it comes to the clock tower, I can't think of a better way to spend these extra dollars than to put them into something as visual and as public as that. So it's great. It's a great job by staff and those that are solving the problems. Great.
Thank you for your comments.
I thought you might like it historically.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Any other discussion on this item? Please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 7-0.
And that's the end of my report.
Thank you for your report. Next is the regular Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of March 26, 2023. Chairman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. Reporting out from the regular Finance and Personnel Committee meeting of March 26, 2023. Minutes can be found on the city website. Item number 1, the committee recommends council approve annexation number 228 for 2.77 acres of land located at 1495 Breezewood Lane in the town of Neenah, with revised annexation fees of $74,239.19. Action on this item under the Plan Commission. Item number 2, the committee recommends council approve the 2022 operating budget carry forwards to 2023 as submitted, and I so move.
Here's a motion by Alderman Erickson. Is there a second?
Don't have the option of second.
Whoops.
Oops, I think I made the motion.
I had
Stumbling too.
There was a motion by Alderman Erickson, which was seconded by Council President Stevenson. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 7-0.
Item number 3, the committee recommends council approve Resolution 2023-11 for the 2023 Community Development Block Grant in the amount of $212,088 and authorization to enter into agreements for the activities subject to approval by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and I so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Erickson. Is there a second? Seconded by Council President Stevenson. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 7-0.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. The next item on the agenda is the regular Plan Commission meeting of March 27th, 2023. Council Representative Steiner is excused, so I will be reading out the report from the Plan Commission meeting. The Commission recommends Council approve ordinance number 2023-03, amending Section 26-550, Parent 1 of the city's Code of Ordinances related to residential driveway standards.
If Tammy moved, I'll second.
I didn't move.
That's left over.
So we'll just wait for a second.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2023-03. Or ordinance, I'm sorry.
Yep, thank you for that motion. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderman Weber. Alderman Boyette.
Thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. Director Kaiser, I have a question. When this originally went to the Plan Commission, I brought forth questions regarding like some of the older neighborhoods and how this was going to impact those driveways that currently couldn't fit into what your original verbiage was. And I'm just curious okay, I'll ask you. What did you come up with to fix that to make it work?
Yeah, so at our first Plan Commission meeting, we had a public hearing where several members of the public did show up and had some concerns with existing driveways, particularly as our original standards had a setback. So in this new ordinance, we eliminated the setback, and any existing driveway that existed prior to the May 1st, 2023 deadline can be expanded or extended or reconstructed up to, but not on the property line, which has been our standard since I've been here and probably since Chris has been here.
Okay, so, and then that'll uphold the current concerns that I had?
Correct.
And, okay, perfect, that's what I wanted. Thank you so much. Oh, was there a grandfather then? Remember you said originally too, there was a grandfather potential for this? And I
Yeah,
just,
so-
and then I was like, okay, well, with that grandfather, what exactly is your grandfather mean? Because some say before a certain date and some say never. And so I'm just curious what your terms for your grandfather was.
Any existing driveway that doesn't currently meet the standards in this code would be grandfathered in.
Thank you so much.
Are there any further questions on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 7-0. The next item is that Plan Commission recommends the council approve ordinance number 2023-04, amending section 26-3 and section 26-550, parent 4 of the city's Code of Ordinances related to portable storage containers. Is there a motion to approve that?
I'll move.
There's a motion by Council President Stevenson. Is there a second? Seconded by Alderman Hillstrom. Alderman Boyette.
Thank you again. Brad, thank you. So what did we come up with for the construction sites for, is it 90 days, 60 days, 30 days? What did we come up with?
The ordinance, again, after public hearing at the Plan Commission, we changed what was originally proposed and added an exemption for any construction-related activity for those types of storage containers.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device.
But dice doesn't.
We'll just ask you to voice vote on it then, I guess.
Yes.
That motion passes 7-0. The next item on the agenda is Commission recommends council approve annexation number 228, ordinance number 2023-06, and the property also receive an R1 single-family residence district zoning classification. I would also like to modify the motion to make the approval conditioned on the city receiving the Wisconsin DOA annexation review letter. Is there a motion to approve that recommendation?
So moved.
There's a motion by Alderman Skirms. Is there a second? A second by Alderman Hillstrom. Alderman Boyette.
Can we identify the property?
Yes. Would you like to give an overview of that again, Brad?
Yeah, this is the property located on the northwest corner of Breezewood Lane and Alpine Drive. 2.77 acres, currently has a single-family house and some outbuildings, and the east side of the lot's pretty much undeveloped.
Thank you.
Council President Stevenson.
Yeah, thank you. I've had multiple conversations with residents around it. And I would like to ask that the minutes specifically reference Brad's comments in his March 27th memo to the council and the finance committee regarding annexation number 228, where his third bullet point said the purpose of the annexation is to subdivide and develop the eastern portion of the subject site with single-family lots. And I just would like to make sure that that's included specifically in the minutes, because I told people I'd do that.
Thank you for that clarification. Are there any further questions or discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 7-0. The next item on the agenda is the Board of Public Works meeting of March 27th. Vice Chairperson Hillstrom.
Thank you, Mayor. The minutes from this meeting can be found on the city website. Evening, we have one informational item and one council action item. The informational item is the board approved pay request number 3, contract 11A-22, water service replacement on Radine Avenue and Zemlock Avenue to Donald Hippus and Sons, in the amount of $3,934.12. The action item is the board recommends council approve contract 5-23, street, curb and gutter, sidewalk and apron construction on streets in Arthur Platte, Cardinal Platte, Integrity Acres Platte, First Edition to Integrity Acres Platte, and Liberty Heights Platte, the MCC Incorporated of Appleton, in the amount of $2,776,445. And I would so move.
There's a motion by Alderman Hillstrom.
Yes.
Seconded by Alderman Weber. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 7-0.
That concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you for your report. The next item on the agenda is the Board of Canvass meeting of April 5th. Council President Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm reporting out from the, as the mayor indicated, the Board of Canvass meeting that occurred at 9:30 this morning. Members present were Samantha Jefferson, Marion Galston, and the city clerk, Shar Nagel. The board compared the image cast evolution or ICE machine printouts with the immediate return sheets as filed by the election board of the city of Neenah and confirmed all automatic election votes as of February 4th, 2023 as follows. In Alderperson District 1, Carrie Lendrum received 1,181 votes. Alexander M. Collins received 1,108 votes. There were 18 write-in votes. Carrie Lendrum, having received the highest number of votes cast, is hereby declared elected alderperson in the first aldermanic district of the city of Neenah for a 3-year term expiring April of 2026. In Alderperson District Number 2, Tammy Erickson received 1,903 votes. There were 24 write-ins. Tammy Erickson, having received the highest number of votes cast, is hereby declared elected alderperson in the 2nd District of the city of Neenah for a 3-year term expiring April 2026. In Alderperson District 3, Scott C. Weber received 1,523 votes. There were 26 write-ins. Scott C. Weber, having received the highest number of votes cast, is hereby declared elected alderperson in the 3rd District of the city of Neenah for a 3-year term expiring April of 2026. Witness our hands at the office of the city clerk of the city of Neenah, City Hall, City of Neenah, Winnebago County, on this day of the 5th day of April, 2023, and that was signed by the 3 Board of Canvassers who were present. I would ask that these minutes be approved and placed on file.
Give us 1 second. There's a motion by Council President Stevenson to put this report on file, accept and put it on file, and seconded by Alderman Boyette. Council President Stevenson.
Yeah, I just want to, again, as I always do, congratulate those that ran, first of all, and specifically those that won, but those that ran and put themselves out there for the scrutiny of the community to evaluate them. That's always a tough thing to do, and I congratulate all of the people. I want to congratulate Shar and her department for putting on a wonderful election. Food was great. And congratulate all the poll workers that put in long hours.
Including yourself, Council President Stevenson. So thank you for that.
You're
I would
welcome.
also like to congratulate Clerk Nagel for all of the hard work that she did on the election and how she so flawlessly runs every election for us. And we're very thankful for all of her hard work and effort. Is there any other discussion? Also offer my congratulations to all three of our aldermen who were elected. Any other comments or discussion? Seeing none, please cast your vote on your voting device. That motion passes 7-0. Thank you for your report. The next item on the agenda is a report from the Neenah Arts Council. Alderman Erickson.
Thank you, Mayor. The Neenah Arts Council met on Wednesday, March 22nd. One of the items that we discussed was the Neenah Public Library Neenah Arts Council photo contest. The contest presentation of winners will be on April 12th at 4 p.m., and I encourage everybody to attend. Last year we had many beautiful photos, and I assume that we will have many beautiful photos. One of our aldermen was one of the judges, Lee Hillstrom, so thank you to him. We also discussed summer activities for the Neenah Arts Council and projects that are ongoing. And that concludes my report.
Thank you for your report. Alderman Skirms? Oh no, I see that. Never mind. I take it back. Are there any petitions? Are there any council directives? Any unfinished business? Alderman Boyette.
Sorry, Mayor, I'm having issues with my little thingy here.
You should trade with John.
So I actually wanted to present a council directive. I know I've talked about it in the past, but I think it needs to be placed here so that it's done properly. It would be a TARF update on the funds, and are they current? Do we need to adjust our amounts? That sort of thing. I know when we put this in place, we said it would be good for 5 years, at which time we would revisit it. And I keep saying it, but I don't do anything. So I think I'm going to do it now, and this is going to be a council directive to get us where we need to be, where we can do this. So I'm not sure who needs to be involved with that, other than perhaps our, brain fart, sorry. Our finance director, as well as council, but there's other department heads that need to help out with this. I'm sure Director Kaiser would be part of that as well.
So we can direct that conversation to take place at the Finance Committee.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other unfinished business? Any new business? Council President Stevenson.
Defer to Chris if he.
I just have a quick, I haven't even discussed this with the mayor, but Alderman Hillstrom raised a question with the completion of the 201, or almost completion of the 201 West Wisconsin project, a possible tour for the council and a few others. I reached out to the developer. One date that we were looking at is May 3rd, which would be a council night. My thought would be perhaps a 5 o'clock, something like that prior to the meeting. Again, I haven't checked with the mayor or even Council President Stevenson. I'm not aware if there's anything special that evening that would be in conflict, but that's my tentative thought. So you may want to mark your calendars or save the date, and we'll confirm logistics of that open house or tour.
Thank you.
I will say, to Chris, I do have on my calendar, that is the night at 5:30, Neenah National Fire Rescue has their
right.
recognition night.
Prior. We can coordinate that on the calendar. But thank you for bringing that up, Alderman. Just a quick reminder too, our next council meeting will be the organizational meeting, and that will be on Tuesday, April 18th, not Wednesday. Remember, you're coming on a Tuesday night, not a Wednesday night. April 18th, 7. Yes, Council President Stevenson.
Thank you, Mayor. Along those lines, the mayor and I will be meeting tomorrow. Discuss a couple things, but one of those will be committee assignments. So if anybody wants to change their committee assignments, let us know. We aren't going to make any decisions tomorrow, but put that on your list of to communicate that to us. And I also this week received the invitation from group that's running it this year, but an invitation for us to participate again in the Memorial Day Parade. So I'll get that information. I did check at the Neenah National Fire Rescue meeting last week about the availability of the same vehicle that we've used in the past. And Tara says it's available, so I will be sending an invitation out. This year, ironically, it was addressed only to me and not, it was to Neenah City Council, my address, not to include, and it didn't include City of Menasha, but I'll reach out to Stan, President Sevenik with the Menasha Council. I'm assuming that they're going to want to have them invited. So I'll send you all an email to remind you to let me know about your availability.
Alderman Boyette.
Thank you, Mayor. Council President Stevenson, the VFW is hosting the parade meeting at Menasha. So it's Menasha's turn for the parade this year. And because I'm on the committee for some of that, you're welcome to join, or I can fill you in. But that's going to be held on 4/26 at 9:30 a.m. at the VFW in Menasha.
Thank you. Is there any other new business? Being none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion to adjourn by Council President Stevenson, seconded by Alderman Boyette. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. We're adjourned.
Broadcasts of the City of Neenah Common Council meetings are produced by University Studios of the University of Wisconsin-Fox Valley. Neenah residents can get information about City Council meetings, City Committee meetings, meeting agendas, and other documents via the City website, www.neenahgov.org. Neenah residents can express their opinions about city issues or about these broadcasts by contacting the mayor's office, contacting their city alderman, or by completing the electronic feedback form on the city website, www.neenahgov.org. All public portions of the meetings are recorded in entirety and are not edited for playback.